Okay, so let's start the recording. Hello, everyone in attendance, and to everyone who will join the session in their own time later. Welcome to the training Focused and in Your Lane, 4 steps to regain more calm and control over your work calendar. So let's get started. So, what's the plan for today? What's the plan for this session? So, this is a training that will have 4 rounds, 4 exercises. And my goal for this session is for you to have this time for reflection and audit that you normally don't have or very, very rarely have. So, today I will be acting more as a facilitator, as a moderator, but also share some of my expertise and experience from managing projects and process improvement. So, how the session will look like today, as you've seen from the title, this is 4 steps. So, we will look at every individual step, and for those, we would have I would first share some background, some context, so to say, some introduction to why is this important, and then you will have time for individual reflection, individual practical exercise. If you want to share some thoughts in the chat, please do so. It's always helpful to exchange, and we will repeat it for every exercise. So, without further ado, let's get started. But first, let me say a little bit more about myself. So I know most of you know me, if not in person, then through LinkedIn or some other groups, like Facebook business groups. But for those of you who don't know me well, hi everyone, my name is Agata Sirocka. I'm a solopreneur since 2 years. So I have 6 years of experience managing tech implementation projects in consulting agencies and startup environment, mostly Salesforce. And for the past 6 years, I've worked on the intersection of tech and business. So I've collaborated a lot, both as a consultant and as a project manager for this last few years. And what I've noticed after having been involved in about like 50 Salesforce implementation projects, or like this huge CRM, huge software implementation launches, was that great software is the last step. But if the processes before that and our individual action collaboration is faulty, then even a very powerful software can only do so much. So this is actually a first ever session, webinar, training that I run that is not Salesforce specific. So a big moment for me. So if you have any feedback on how to make these sessions more relevant for you, please let me know. Be gentle, but let me know. And the reason I chose this particular topic is partially what I said, that this topics of productivity and collaboration are really crucial, but also for me individually, inner calm is actually one of my most important values in life. And I do think that even if you work in this culture of urgency, like startups, consulting agencies, like I did, and I know some of you do as well, it still is possible to have this inner grounding. And to me, it comes from being more focused and owning my work and the value of this work. So these are the things that I would like to invite you to reflect on today. Okay. So step number 1 from 4 steps is to really understand the value of your work. And probably if you signed up for the session, like feeling with how to regain more calm and control over calendar, and I'm talking about understand the value of your work. That might sound a little bit counterintuitive, but in fact, what I've seen, for myself and for students and junior specialists, junior Salesforce specialists that I've been mentoring in the past is that a lot of feeling of overwhelm stems from not really focusing on what's important, but getting distracted by everyone else's requests. And really, when you understand, when you understand the value of your work, you build up this confidence that, hey, you know what, like my job matters here. Like I'm not just clicking around the system. I am actually bringing value either by bringing more sales or by reducing bottlenecks, making some processes more efficient so that we can serve more clients or we can reduce errors, like whatever you do in your role, but knowing what value does it bring overall for the company, even if you are a junior, like a junior manager or, junior seniority or however you say that doesn't really matter. You still have a lot to bring to the table. And added bonus for doing this exercise that I think we don't do enough, we don't celebrate ourselves enough, of course without being arrogant, but I've seen that we really just move from one project to another and don't really take time to celebrate what we do. So before we move on to calendar management and next steps, I would like us to have this 5 minutes to really, for ourselves, to really reflect on our wins. And added bonus to this exercise is that you can always use it in salary negotiation. So what's not to love? Okay, so I will give you 5 minutes to make a list of your 5 to 10 contributions, achievements from the past quarter. Not only will it be incredibly helpful for your salary negotiation, but it will also give you more clarity on how your work is benefiting your company. And I've listed a couple of examples that might serve as an inspiration for you. So it's 12:42. So let me give you 4 minutes to do it to 12:46. And then we'll be back with the next step. And by the way, if you are watching this on the replay and want to, scroll for the next 4 minutes or 3 minutes, please don't. I mean, you're an adult. You can do what you want, but as long as it's legal. But this is a time for you. So I don't want to give off teacher vibes, but I really encourage you to take this time to not just walk through this video, but just really work on those exercises as if you were here with us in attendance. And sorry for those of you who are here and working on it for my extra commentary. So I will come back to being muted. Okay, fantastic. I hope this was enough time. You can always take a screenshot of this, or come back to this video later, or just like write down the exercise and remember to continue doing it. And something that I personally recommend, and something that I'm doing myself. As a business owner, I wish I was doing it when I was employed, but I didn't think about it. Is to really make it a regular exercise. So, it's great that we had this time now to reflect on the last quarter or last few months. But often a lot of those achievements, even smaller ones or larger ones, are going unnoticed. So what I like to do, I have my entire brain is on my phone, which for a CRM consultant maybe is not the best advertisement. But I have an app on my iPhone. I call it small wins, or like everyday wins. May sound cheesy, but every week I just write, like what I managed to achieve or where I was successful. And a lot of those things go unnoticed. So every now and then, when you're in a funk, when you're not feeling well, it's just really builds up this confidence when you go through this list and see, like, oh, you know what, I'm actually doing much better than I thought. And if you're like self-employed like I am, you don't have this manager who will pat you on your back. But if you're employed, then of course these are the things that you can be regularly using and promote it. I don't want to say the word promote, but use in your salary negotiations or in your reviews with your manager, so that you get compensated what you should. So I hope this was helpful, and let's move on to step number 2. And step number 2, now that we've flexed our confidence muscle and see that we are doing much better than we initially thought, it's time to go to this time management part. And what a better place to start than the place we are right now. So step 2, see where you are at now. So the exercise for you now, we'll have two exercises, like 2 parts of exercise, is that in order to know where the time goes, like you cannot, how does the saying go? You cannot manage what you cannot track, no? Like you cannot manage what you're not aware of, basically. So how can you improve your time management if you don't know how your week looks like? So again, I will give you a couple of minutes to review your work calendar. You can look at past 3 to 4 weeks. Depends on how your month is structured. If you're every week looks the same because you have like cadence meetings, like recurring meetings, or like recurring cadence tasks, then probably 1 or 2 weeks would be enough. If your role is a little bit more varied and every week is slightly different, then look at the longer time frame. But the idea is so you can find some patterns. So please open your work calendar and look at like those past few weeks, and how much time do you spend in meetings, both one-on-one and like team group meetings. How much time, if any, do you spend on deep work, personal development, and strategic projects, and the promotable projects that bring you closer to promotion, or actually exciting projects that you want to work on, and anything else that is worth noting from taking this time to look at this calendar. And if your company uses Google Workspace, there is this time insights panel on the left-hand side that allows you to calculate the kind of, it gives you this like like a at a glance look overview, how much time do you spend doing what. So this could be also very interesting to see this aggregated information in one graph. Another thing that I recommend, and you can either use this time now to download it or do it after the session, is to look at apps like Clockify or Toggle. Obviously, I am not affiliated. Nobody pays me for that. But they are good apps in a sense that I haven't used it in a while, but I remember, for example, Clockify allowed to help you with scheduling suggested group meetings so that it maximizes deep work focus time for different members who are supposed to take part in this meeting, so that it's not like fragmented, because I think that's, at least it was super annoying for me to have this half an hour focus time meeting, 45 minutes focus time, another meeting. Like, this is just like what a fragmented day. So those apps help find slots that are best for the team. And Toggle is actually app that I've been using to calculate, to track from start to stop how much time did a certain task take to accomplish. But I mean, you can also have pen and paper. You don't have to go that digital on that. But the important thing is to really look at it. And what I also encourage you, if you look at your calendar and you see that you only put like 2 or 3 meetings, but you don't know where the rest of the time goes because you're not really tracking it, you only track the calendar invitations. That's, of course, whatever works for you. But what I would just encourage you, just as an experiment for this week or 2, is to really write down what were you doing. Like, you don't have to write it down in your work calendar if you don't want other people to see, or you can make it private. I'm sure you can figure out a way to make it work for you. But just so that you are aware how much time does a certain task take, because oftentimes when we're working on one of our like deliverables or one of our tasks, we really lose the track of time, and it can be really surprising that, oh wait, it took me 2 hours. Oh wait, it took me an hour. So I really encourage just to track what you do for like a week or 2. If you're not doing it, just so that you know where your time goes, and to see what can you improve outside of meetings. So that's something that I wanted to add to that. And of course, if you need some extra guidance from me, let me know, because as part of Salesforce consulting, what I've been doing, I've actually hated it, but I think it's helpful for like a week or 2 to do it. We were requested to track everything because we were billing our clients based on how much time we spent building certain features. So we really had to monitor every waking hour of our work week. So so if you need some support how to do it best, let me know, and I'd love to help you. But enough of my rambling. Now I give you another 3 minutes to 3 to 4 minutes to really look at your calendar in the past few weeks, and look, what are your first thoughts? Like, do you already see any changes you can implement, like declining some unnecessary meetings, or how to run them more effectively? So I'm really curious to know. We'll have like a follow-up exercise, but I'm really curious to know if there's anything showing up for you after looking at this. So I will give you another 3 minutes to reflect. Okay, so I hope that for now that's enough time and you had some first good thoughts that I would love to hear. You can either share it now in the chat or you can also reach out to me per email when I send um, the replay, because I'm really curious to know what were your first impressions. And it's exercise 2A, so like the second component of it is reviewing your meetings, because that's probably something that you do track in your calendar, and then that's probably also something that you have quite a lot, some people more, some people less, but most of the meetings are inefficient to say the least. And I'm just going to stick with inefficient. But there is also a way to run them. There's always a way to run them more efficiently. So I would like to invite you as well and give you like 2 or 3 minutes to review the meetings that you attend, and how can you run yours more efficiently. And there are some that you organize, there are some that you're joining as an attendee, but I think if you are what's probably the easiest to change is the ones that you actually organize. So as an organizer, I know for a fact that the best way to inspire a change, however grand it may sound, is to actually set an example yourself, rather than complaining that meetings suck, because a lot of them do. But if we only complain, then nothing will ever change. Um, so I can give you some tips as an organizer from my um, experience, because I did have a lot of meetings that were waste of time, but I also seen for myself meetings that were actually well executed and well structured. So it is possible. So two things that I would look at when you're reviewing the meetings that you are organizing is, first, if you clearly define purpose and expected outcome of the meetings that you organize, because a lot of meeting invitations start with the focus is to meet. Like, you can meet a friend for a coffee, but like at work, you can also meet a friend for a coffee. But if you want to move things forward, there should be actually a goal. And the goal is not to meet. Like, the goal would be to plan project timelines or milestones, to decide on the testing approach, to train a new user, to demonstrate the progress on the project, but not to meet. Like, to meet, if we just meet to meet, then that will be it. Like, then we will meet 5 more times because we haven't accomplished or moved forward anything. And we will only grow more frustrated. So really taking the time to clearly define the purpose and expected outcome of the meetings that you organize also helps to really specify who needs to be on this call, who needs to be included in this meeting, so that we don't waste time with people who have nothing to contribute at this particular stage and will be just getting frustrated because they got invited to a meeting they have nothing to contribute to. So I would encourage you to take like a few minutes to actually look if from the meetings that you organize, if you could run them more effectively. So that's one part. Another thing to look at, if you have any meetings that are always prolonged and just like people just like ramble out of topic, which we know can happen, is, can you act as a facilitator or moderator, or appoint someone so that there is one person who actually is responsible for tracking time, and when someone goes off on a tangent, you can encourage like a parking lot for this idea, right? So knowing that there is a person whose role is to actually be to make sure that this meeting does run efficiently already creates like a different, like, I think it's like, I've seen it's much easier to actually stop someone from speaking, because you're like, hey, this is like my role and I'm executing this role. And I can give you a couple of examples from my career. So I worked for 2 consulting agencies, and which meant that I was involved in like 5 to 6, 7 different projects. So my Mondays would look like, in the morning, I would have a team squad update, weekly update, and then I would have project specific updates. So basically the entire day was spent on updating everyone. I already needed to sigh after saying that, which meant that I did very little work this day that actually moved my projects forward and made up those billable hours that I was asked to do. So I've seen like bad examples where we would have a team meeting where everyone would update in such level of granularity that it wasn't relevant to anyone. So it was really a waste of time of like 10 people over 1 hour. And in the other company I worked with, someone back in the past came up with this structure where we had 5 different, I think it was 5 different points that were like a core structure of this like weekly check-in. And there was a scribe and a facilitator appointed from within our team, and we were, appointing different people, like, like round robin mechanism every, I think, 3 months. So if we had like a team of like 6 people, then one person was a scribe, so there was a person who was taking notes, and another was a facilitator. So when the updates goes to granular, they would be like, hey, can you please take it to one-on-one, or create like a follow-up task. So that would be something that you would discuss with this person individually after this meeting, because we don't need to know it, obviously in like a kinder way, right? So that actually helped us. I've worked there for like a year and a half, and I think we always ended on time. So it is possible. So I really do encourage this like scribe and facilitator roles for those meetings, and really having someone to think of how can you make this more structured. And I know, especially with those with intention, like really making it more intentional. So what I've seen in, for example, those weekly check-in meetings, what was happening is, everyone would like to connect, and obviously it's very, very important, especially in this like remote work. But we would just like ramble about everything, kind of like not really helping us neither connect, not finish this meeting on time. So what we were doing in this like other company I worked for is that we had like a check-in question. So every week someone would, like the facilitator would look up, there are those check-in question generators online, and ask like one question that was kind of like work appropriate, but still allowed us to connect. So it was like actually really nice, because we would have like this like one question to get to know each other better. Like, I don't know, what was your first job? If you were a caller, what color would you be, or what have you? And that helped us get to know each other from like a different side. That helped us connect, but it still didn't require it didn't require the some people answering my weekend was good, and another person talking like 10 minutes, like hour by hour detail encounter of what has happened. So so there are ways to do it in those like weekly check-ins that you can absolutely improve. And another thing that I can also share from my experience, and if you go to my YouTube channel that I will link, I made an entire video on how to run effective project retrospectives, which I definitely very, very much recommend. You even will get a checklist if you sign up to newsletter on how to do it. So I will share the link. It's very helpful. So so I won't spend too much time on it now. But that was it from my introduction. Was that's what I wanted to share as a inspiration for you to this point. But now I will give you this 3 minutes to review your meetings from the past few weeks that you were organizing, and after me sharing what I've shared so far, if you can think how can you run them more efficiently. So I'll give you 3 minutes. Okay, so let's move forward. You can always, like I said in the previous example, you can always take a screenshot and mention me if you do, and come back to this task when you have more time. So let's move to step number 3. Again, let me know if you have any questions up till now. And we can move forward to step number 3, which is trimming what's not necessary. And what I mean by that is that when you look at your calendar, what we did in the last step, you'll probably see meetings. If you are also putting the deep work time or some sort of office hours to your calendar as well, then that's also visible. But what we've done so far would have helped you see if you have any fragmented days, lack of focus time, if your meetings can be run more efficiently. But not every one of us spends 6 hours a day on meetings. Some people just spend an hour or 2 a week, a day, or a couple hours a week, and yet still you can notice that you don't have that many meetings, and still you don't know how the day goes by and where has the time been spent. So that's why I would like to prompt you to look at a couple of things that I have noticed are often time eaters, but are quite insidious because we don't track them in our calendar, so they go unnoticed, but take a lot of our time. And 2 things that I've noticed are, if you can evaluate, and what I invite you to reflect yourself is to evaluate how much time do you spend on fluffy, unpromotable tasks, and what tasks can you delegate, and how much time do you spend over delivering on unnecessary tasks. And I will give you 1 minute to first think about this broad questions, and then I will share some extra prompts for more targeted reflection. So if anything comes up already. I'll just see if something's going on in the chat. Okay, so to give you some extra food for thought on this topic, I don't want to say that usually women, but from my experience, usually women are, and the majority of people who signed up are women, is when it comes to those fluffy and promotable tasks, like women are, but again, it's same for men, but I've just seen but I've just seen it happen more often for women, regardless of their seniority, is that they're often asked to do so-called calendar management, feel-good manager, and anything else that is not related to your job description, to your role responsibilities, but you are asked to be doing those things. That can be done by literally anyone on the team. So some of the things that I've seen most insidious in like startups is, do you volunteer or are you asked to be a volunteer for calendar management and being the go-to person to responsible for finding a suitable meeting schedule for your entire team? Are you the one who's always following up with different teams to request information? Do you organize, like team events, birthday cards, whatever, Mother's Day, and whatever else this is? Team building that you don't even want to, even if you want to attend, despite whether you want to attend it or not. But you're the only woman on the team, so naturally, as the nurturer that you are, you are supposed to. You are the only one capable of making that happen, because men who run this company are unable to research. I'm joking, because this is like so insidious. Everyone is able to do that, but somehow disproportionately it falls more to women, and it shouldn't be this way. Punto. And so, like, as you can see, I got a little bit enraged when I'm talking about this, and maybe you will too, if you notice that you spend so much time doing tasks that nobody respects, because that's not something that will get you a promotion. Like, you're not gonna get promoted for being the one who always requests information, who coordinates everything with other teams, unless you're a product manager. Then that's a part of your job. But when it comes to tasks that everyone can do and it somehow fall on you, I would really take time to look at it, because these are the things, like, they can take a lot of time. 15 minutes there, 20 minutes there, 15 there, 15 there, and it really adds up. And then you see that you spent a couple of hours doing something a week, doing something that nobody notices, that doesn't bring you further to any promotion, and disproportionately fall onto you. It's not about being uncooperative. It's about valuing your time. And this is why I always give this exercise number 1 about valuing your time, because if you see that, hey, I am here making a CRM or a product that is making this company a lot of money because they can serve more clients with the same workforce, then I am not going to waste my time. That I matter here. I'm not going to waste my time disproportionately, managing calendar for my team colleagues. Like, why should I be doing this? Like, they can do it as well. So so that makes it easier to say no. That's why I always bring this valuing your time component. So that's one big thing. And just not to leave it with a rage that's the unaddressed rage. We'll also talk in the next step on what we can do. I will give you some tips that helped me and other people I work with to address those those slight annoyances. So that's the first thing. Those like spending time on tasks that will not leave you further anywhere, but eat your time and go unnoticed. Go unnoticed. Punkt. But the second thing is over delivering on unnecessary tasks. And what I mean by that, and then it often stems from perfectionism. So this can be really looking at like nitty gritty details where you actually good will do. Good is good. You know what I mean? It's like I can give you my like one of the examples. When I had my very first mentoring client, paid mentoring client, I was so shocked that someone would pay me not to actually uh, build something in Salesforce, but to actually support someone else so they can be better admins. That I felt that, there's like 1 hour of mentoring a week that we have is not enough. Like I need to create super detailed meeting notes and just like leave my mentee with extra reading resources that I don't think he ever read it because it was just too much information. He didn't need it. But I felt that in order to be a good mentor, I need to over deliver and not only do my very best during this like 60 minutes every week or every 2 weeks that we had. Then I just need to, detailed notes and like let him know of some evil. Like I really didn't need to. And it was spending time on something that's unnecessary because I wasn't really bringing him value. Like what was bringing value were our calls and just like extra tasks that I was doing because I thought I should over deliver were actually wasting my time. Like, um, like he didn't need it. I wasn't asked to do it. I wasn't appreciated for it. Because nobody asked me to do it. And, in this time, I could have looked for different clients. I could have, done something else that really brought my business forward. And I'm pretty sure you can come up with some examples like this for yourself. And it's, it's not about doing a mediocre job or average job. It's just knowing where are you being perfectionistic. When are you being perfectionist? Where you don't really need to. And I also had some colleagues who would work on Saturday doing some minor tickets or whatever, and then they felt frustrated that they're not appreciated. But it's like, yeah, but you haven't moved the core projects, like the OKRs that are related to objective and key results, like so it's on you. So I know that this could have been a little bit emotional. So I was a little bit emotional, definitely. But I think it's also a really good exercise to be more honest with yourself and see where are we standing in our own way and how can we improve it. So I leave you for now with this thought, so that you can, I'm sure that when I was like talking for the past few minutes, you already thought of some examples from your own career. So please write them down for yourself. And the second part of this exercise, because we don't want to leave the session being like, oh, I'm so angry, I'm doing a lot of calendar, a lot of work that nobody appreciates. Like we don't want to leave with this lack of agency. So the second step to this is actually, what can you do instead to trim what's not necessary so you can focus on what's actually important. And here are some examples for your inspiration. So if you tend to volunteer for those tasks, calendar management, team buildings, birthday cards, birthday funds, anniversaries, whatever. Can you try next time? Sit comfortable in silence and just that's your task for this meeting. Just sit comfortable in silence. Just don't have this. Is it possible? Can you try? Um, maybe you can, maybe you don't. But it's just good to be mindful to not make this like this is like what this entire exercise is about. Like it's nothing groundbreaking. It's about being aware of the things that we would do, instinctively, and thinking if we can respond differently. So if you tend to volunteer, can you sit comfortable in silence? Can you maybe appoint another person if you're asked, like, hey, can you do, like schedule the meeting again? Can you ask, like, hey, or can you ask, like, different person for request for information? Can you just appoint a particular person, like maybe the one that's sitting next to you? Like, can you, with a name, like, please, can you check with your team about this and this? Who from your team can take the task of da 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 over? So you're like, because if you say, like, can someone take this task, then everyone would just, like, look at their shoes, look at the sky, and just, like, longingly. But if you appoint a particular person from that team, which makes sense, then they're way less likely to say, no, I can't, I'm too important for that. They still can, but most of them probably will be like, will not say it because it's like, um, and another thing, if you don't want to point a particular person because of, I don't know, you're uncomfortable for some reason to do that, you can encourage a round robin rotation system. Like that's a very fair system. Like you cannot deny with the fairness of it, dispute with the fairness of it, so that other colleagues can take ownership of team events, not taking birthdays, and be like, hey, how about, I don't know, we look alphabetically in our team and the next person is doing, has their turn. Or in the next 3 months, this is this person's turn. I'm sure you can think of something that would work the best in your particular team structure, in your particular situation, but just to try advocate for yourself. And another added benefit of it is that when you even if you end up doing it again, the fact that you tried, the fact that you advocated for yourself is also like, it's something that gives a lot of sense of agency, which is very, very powerful. And again, like I said, this is like this entire exercise, the reason that I asked you to track your achievements and understand the value of your work can help you build up this confidence to say no to such tasks that you may, get a pat on the back, but not real recognition, because it's, a lot of this stems from confidence and being like, and setting boundaries, which I know can be difficult. I mean, I'm also a young woman in tech, so I know a lot of that look much younger than I actually am. so I know it also from the heart. But your time is more valuable. So I hope it was helpful, albeit a bit emotional. And to cool it a little bit down, we're going to step number 4, which is the last step for today, as we are slowly getting to the end of our session today, which I hope has been helpful so far and like a little bit like perspective opening, is to review your collaboration standards. So step 4. So for some of you, it might be more relevant than the others, depending on your role. So if you're employed in a startup, agency, or work with clients, or with other teams, when you spend a lot of time communicating, collaborating with either colleagues, project teams, clients, that's another blind spot where we often don't work as effectively as we can. And like, I said, my background, my professional background is in project management, process improvement. So I've been on like 50 projects. So I've seen a lot of efficient and inefficient collaboration. So I shared a couple of prompts that, also look at yourself if you're a role, because I know we are here. Some of us are from customer success roles, some of us are system admins. So there are people here joining us from different backgrounds. So some of those examples might be more relevant for ones, and some are be for the others. But here are some um, prompts for you to think about, to review your communication process and whether you need to set any boundaries. So, are you currently reacting ASAP to Slack notifications or emails rather than setting particular time slots for, like, I will be checking emails for an hour at this time, and in the morning and in the afternoon, for example. I know some people like to do that. Is it declining invitations to meetings you have nothing to contribute to, but the organizer put no thought into the attendance list? So, what I've talked a lot with Salesforce admins is that wherever because they manage one of the core systems, they would just get invited to any meeting very, very briefly related to their expertise, just in case. And often they have nothing to contribute because the team is in the ideation phase and not really, or brainstorming phase, and they don't really need a CRM admin. So what I always like encourage to do is to ask, hey, like, thank you for I mean, if you want to say thank you for the invite, then you do. If you don't, then you don't. But you can say, hey, I saw this event, this meeting. How would you like me to contribute? What's my expected contribution? What do you want me to help with? Right. So then you can actually ask, and if the person say, hey, it would be great if you could let us know what's possible in the system, then you know that, okay, this is a meeting that I'm needed for. And if they say, oh, we're like thinking because maybe we're this process, and then you know that, hey, you know what, it sounds like you are in the ideation phase, it sounds like you are in the brainstorming phase, and I don't have that much to contribute. I would love to join you for this discussion when you have particular questions to me, but for now I would decline because it seems like I have nothing to contribute to. This is how I speak. Choose the wording that sounds natural to you, but but that's also one way to to carve out your time back, because there's so many meetings that you don't have to be there with, and you can get frustrated that, oh, I wasted time on a stupid meeting. But have you asked if you don't have to be there? So that's something that I also encourage to do. And if you are working with tickets from other teams, have you set any standards in how they are described to you? Or do you allow low quality tickets that make it difficult for you to work with? So you are the one following up. Hey, what did you mean with this and this and this? I can give you one example from very early on when I started working with this process improvement space. I worked in a startup where I was in customer success, and my role was to help account managers or partner managers on like a technical side, on like a backup side. So I was between product and tech and business, supporting partner managers. So I would sometimes get and I was helping colleagues who worked for different markets. So we had, I think, like 4 or 5 markets that the company was available in and present in. And I remember I had one colleague who would write me, hey, Agata, I have a problem with my partner, ... And I would be like, insane, like insane. What partner, what problem? What have you done to improve it? Like what hasn't worked? Like any screenshots, any details? So you can be like me in 2017, I guess, 18, and get frustrated or send a link to Esther Perel website being like, if you have partner problems, then she might be a good resource. She's a relationship, like one of the, if you don't know her, she's like one of the most famous like relationship psychotherapists and expert on relationships. Like this colleague was, like on my seniority. Like I wouldn't say it to my boss, but this was like my colleague, so it was fine. And you can, waste time being frustrated because like tickets, like I have a problem with my partner, it's just like you cannot act on it, and it was on me to follow up with this person, and it was wasting my time. So what we did back then is that we set up like a form, and whichever software you're using, like Jira, Salesforce, whatever, what else is there, Asana, it is possible to have this required fields, and actually ensure that your colleagues will send you tickets that are high quality, that you don't have to waste time on trying to figure out what happened. And same now with my business. I would have clients who, not clients, prospective clients who, we would have like a free discovery session, half an hour, and then they would be like, oh, we don't have a budget to work with you. And I'm like, good to know. We just spent half an hour on a project that will not happen. Or they will tell me that they want to start a project, but in 6 months. But I'm like, well, in 6 months, someone's, this has been a waste of my time. It has been an exercise to run discovery calls, but I'd much rather have clients. So, I can get frustrated that people waste my time when they don't really know what are the rates in this industry. Or I can make sure before they book a call with me that they know what my rates are, that they specify what their budget is and what's their readiness. So if someone wants to book a Calendly call, like a free introductory call with me on Calendly, they have 2 questions like, hey, these are my hourly and daily rates. What is your budget? And another one is like, it's a collaborative process. Do you have 2 to 3 hours a week for collaboration? And when are you willing to start with the project, so that, we don't waste each other's times, basically. So there are a lot of, and that's it. It was actually for me adding 2 questions to a form to qualify my leads to sound very salesy in this part. But there are ways. So I would, again, like this entire session, there's nothing groundbreaking here, but it's about being intentional and really reflecting and seeing what is annoying you on the weekly basis, right? Like I was annoyed that I spent time on 3 calls getting pumped up that I'm going to get my first clients, and then they asked me if I can work for half my rate. Like, no, I can't. I can keep being frustrated, or I can think, how can I bulletproof it, so to say. So these are the things, like notice your annoyances. Like, what are you annoyed with in this collaboration? And some things are out of your control, but some things really are. So that's kind of like the gist of this point. Like, what's in your control? What can you change? Because often it's much more than you think. And another thing is, do you schedule this communication process? Do you schedule focus time and no meetings time slot for deep work, yet your colleagues completely disregard them and schedule a meeting in that time? Does it also happen? So a lot of those things. So these are like the things that I listed from my experience and experience of people I worked with, but there are probably other things that are more specific to your role. So if some of those prompts resonated with you, amazing. If there are other things, I would just look at what annoys me on the weekly basis. And when working with other people, write it down and see if there's anything that I can improve from my side to make it more, to tighten it up, or to change it, or to talk with this person. Because often I've seen that, this is like one of those communication topics, and I always recommend nonviolent communication, NVC, if you haven't heard of it. It's basically a way of giving feedback that's, you know, non-threatening, and actually have these conversations that, hey, how can we improve here? Because if you're annoyed, chances are the other person is also annoyed to some extent. So these were the 4 steps that I wanted to share with you today. But before we end the session, last thing I wanted to add for today is that I hope the session really helped you reflect on your week and see how can you improve, and see that you have more agency than you would think, and that you're doing much better than you think now that we've taken the time to understand your achievements. And now that in this session you've identified your biggest bottlenecks, or you will think about after the session, regarding to your productivity and collaboration, and you still feel a little bit overwhelmed, feeling like, yeah, I've identified all those things, but I still don't know how to move forward, then I would love to help you. Like I said, I have worked for the past 6 years in process improvement, project management. I've seen a lot of different projects and can give you tangible tips, and personalized advice to you on how can you improve. And I normally don't offer support packages like this, so this is only for you because you trusted me with this new topic that I'm exploring that's not Salesforce related. So I am offering 1 week one-on-one support. I only have 5 spots available July, August, where I will support you one-on-one. So we will meet on a call for 45 minutes where you describe me your issues in detail, and I support you and challenge you, and we can come up with a plan on how to regain your time and how to improve the collaboration processes that you have. And I know that often the call is not enough, right? Because you start actually implementing those tips, those advice, and this advice, and then you're like, maybe I forgot about something, maybe I need to tweak something. So I understand that, and that's why after the call I am offering a 5 working days of WhatsApp or email follow-up support. So we can agree on either WhatsApp or email, depending what you prefer, and I commit myself to answering you within 24 hours, usually earlier, but to be on the safe side, for 5 days, to support you with whatever questions you might have. So you don't have like a cap of how many questions you can ask me. You can ask me 1 question, you can ask me 10 questions in the meantime, or send me a voice note, or voice notes, and I'll be there for you for this week. And the investment is 155 euros. The VAT is already included. And just for reference, my regular hourly rate is 125 euros. So this is really like an offer and like a thank you for taking your time to join this session and to trust me with your time. So you can send me an email at hello@agatasirotska.com already, or as a reply to the call with all the recording, and we can set it up. And yeah, that's it for today. Whew, this hour went by very, very fast. I hope for you as well. I really do hope that you take this time to do the exercise and not just watch the video. And yeah, I'm there for you, and I'm looking forward to hear back from you, to hear your feedback, and to see you other places on the internet anytime soon. So I wish you all the best. I wish you a great week ahead. It's Monday here. And chat soon.